So this is a data gathered from a primary research that I'll be using for the purpose of this class, and it was based on artificial intelligence for pre-teacher. I mean pre-teacher in the essence of those that are currently students in education, but they are teacher in view. So if we check the trend of this data, I don't even have much problem to do inside this data, because looking from this particular, my can we all see my data clearly? The data I'm showing to us currently.
Yes.
The next thing I want to do is clean this data and get it prepared for what I actually want to do. Though I'm supposed to run this analysis on SPSS, but for the purpose of this class, because we've not got into SPSS, I'll be doing it on Excel for all of us to see how it works. So, like I'm saying, I said this data is not even a big deal to deal with. Reason being because I even wonder how this person structured this question this way. But if we check from this particular question that I am over to this last question, every of the feedback, I mean the response that was expected from the respondent are the same. Meaning here they have strongly disagree, agree, and like that over from here to down. It is only demographic factor that they have it that is not having that way. So the first thing we want to do is to clean this data, get what I need and discard what I don't need, and also as a measure to prepare it for analysis, I will code this thing. Code means that I assign numeric value to each of these variables. So I assign numerical value to you. So for start, I will remove this timestamp. That is when, and don't forget what I used to say. I say before you work on any of the data, you duplicate it. Truly, this affect data, and the data is not. I need part of the information of the data. I can quickly go back to my mail to download it afresh. But if that is the main data that you are working on and you are not making a duplicate of it, that Yoruba word pé sọpó ti lọ, that will be the next music that you turn your channel to. So let me call this one, how do I want to call it? Let's just call it transformed data. So I don't need this timestamp, so I delete that one. I need the age group, but the problem I have with this age group is, okay, I think they classify it. Okay, I need the gender, I need the level, I need the um, other question that are there. So what I just have to establish here at first, it doesn't have tons of data. Why is this 99 empty? Let me delete this 99. Does that mean they submit empty form? This is another thing. As a analyst, there are some information that is always crucial whenever you are setting your questionnaire outside. There are some questions that you mandate for the respondent. You can see this place also. This person does not fill majority of the questionnaire. CR is empty. So why will you fill and add to proportion where it does not meet? And see somewhere here, the person only fill, probably when the person see that, but this thing is getting too long, Gary, let me just get out of it. Or the person does not understand what they're asking. But this will make my own data biased, so I have to get them out. So now by this we have 157 respondents. So for my gender, I either have them as male or female. I've started class. Oh. The first aspect I want to look into is the VLOOK option that we left in last class. VLOOK option, that's what we want to maximize here at first. So we have level, which I believe the level can be from 100. Although I'm not seeing 100 here, but let me just start from 100. 200. Education student is always 4 years. 300 and 400. I will code this one to be 1. This is my code. I will code my, hope you can see what I'm doing. I'll code my male to be 1, my female to be 2, my 100 level to be 1, my 200 level 2, my 300 level 3, my 400 level 4. Somebody will ask me, why are we doing this? Why do we have to code it? Why can't we analyze with data that we already have here? Assuming it's a pivot table that you guys want to use to justify how many people did this, how many people did that, it will be very fast to do with pivot table that was explained to you in last class. But for research purpose, you have to do a proper descriptive analysis and you have to do some correlation in some cases depending on the objective of the research or research question, and sometimes you have to do regression analysis as the case may deem fit, and some it might be t-test and some it might be any test but based on the research question and objectives. So but if I should now pick this and I want to run my analysis on, it will be detecting it as a string and it will not analyze. What I mean by that one is this. Let's assume I go under my data, I go under my data analysis, and let me just pick descriptive statistics for example. And for my column of what I want to analyze, not to even select too much big deal, let me just select only this range. Let's select this, and I select the first row as label, and I select new workbook, and I select to give me a summary statistics. If I press OK, it will tell me error because the input range contain non-numeric data. So what I want to do is I want to code all these numeric strings which are non-numeric to a numeric number that I can use for analysis. So that's why I'm doing all this code of a thing that you see at the minute. So the next one is um, it's not easy for me to quickly look into all this. I think this one is teaching specialization. I have multiple class here, but let me check if I can get this uh, questionnaire itself to make it fast. But if I don't have the access to questionnaire and I want to get this, I can quickly use the pivot table that you guys did the last time. So my pivot table I'll only be picking the region that I need value for, which are these two guys. So new worksheet. So I need row. So this one is telling me that hope you can see here, we have 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 categories of teaching specialization that the person identified. That's only what I need that make me to do this pivot. So I can go back to my transform data and put it over here, that the one I want to code. So I can code this one to be 1. Let me add something here. Wait though. Hope people are getting what I'm doing, because we definitely do it though. There will be assignment on this one. If you are not getting, call me back so that we'll address it. So because it's very simple, but you have to understand the principle how it works. So this one is specialization and the code. So we code this one to be 2 this to be 3, this to be 4, 5. These people are even confused type. I believe he's working with pre-teacher. Why are they still using education separate? They should be all be education now. It is well. And so that is about that. The second aspect, let me delete this. Like move out. So you come inside. And over here, oh boy, go outside. Where's that one? You come inside. So we have this one is asking them if they have a prior knowledge, probably in terms of a formal course, none if they don't have any self-taught workshop. Which one should be our priority for us over here? So like you have over there, in last class, we were able to present that for us to maximize the option that we call vlook. For vlook, we have to create, we have to code all the options which are responses that we got from our respondents, either in ordinance or probably any arrangement that it takes to justify ascending or descending. But I said the last class I was trying to explain something that arranging in form of giving it hierarchy in the sense of in respect to probably ordinance depending on the options will help more better. And I was explaining something around especially this perspective, this area, which is strongly agree, disagree, neither agree, agree, strongly disagree. Shows that if I label this one, I must monitor which one I'm giving the most negative and which one I'm giving the most positive. And according to my own, I do like to give the most positive, which is 5, to the most positive over here, so that my mean that I will get from my analysis will justify which area of this belongs to. The regular mean of this supposed to, I mean this 5, supposed to be 3, which is average of all this. That's supposed to be 3. However, if I'm getting my mean that is around 3, that is greater than or equals to 3, I can know that I'm working towards agree and this. But if I have something less than, let me copy this here. But if I have something like less than or equals to 3, I will know I'm working towards disagree and agree region. So that is the basic way I can explain that one to us. So when we work around mean, and I gave you assignment one of the time that I've not asked you people around the fact that you should go and understand the mean, the median, or the central tendency, and other descriptive analysis variable in terms of the minimum, maximum, and the likes. And I told you that I'll be asking all of you one by one. Probably today will even be the judgment day that I'll be asking you one after the other. because I've given the assignment now. That is all over 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks? More than 2 weeks. So I believe all of you have mastered that by now. So I will try to make justice to that in today's class. So having understand that one, I said we have to create down this. So for some of you that are using your Excel sheet, I mean your system right away, we have our age categories here, we have our gender categories, we have our level, we have our course of study. This particular one is answering the question of where they have a prior experience about AI usage, and we have questions from 1 to 24 over here that have similar um, response from response pattern, or let me say structure options for it, which is using a light scale, 5 light scale, which is strongly disagree to agree. So in your with you over there now on the Excel sheet, what you want to do now is to create this code. You might choose your male to be 2 while your female is 1, depending on what your case may be, and just follow this structure. The level, we have 400 level based on education in this institution. We have different 5 categories of education that surface let me say education is that surface within the response to the respondent. So we have different way of they've gotten prior knowledge about use of AI, and this is our level of response to all the 24 questions, and this for the age. So we should all do this. This is because I just want you guys to get it more better from based on how we explained last class. So having done this, for all of us that we are practicing and we are doing that along the line, you've coded this to be 1, 2, level 1, 2, 3, blah blah blah, those stuff. The art 1, 2, 3, 4, and the likes, downward. So the next thing for us to do is to create a new sheet. Let me delete all this so that we'll recreate it. Let me delete this. So after you've gotten all this data, the next one that we check around it is to clean that data, which is all this, to check for vacancy, to check for um, possibility of not being written well, as the case may be, within the data. So you can check through and look for omission. However, I've done this one earlier on to search for omission within the data sheet. Okay. So, but during my uh, look using VLOOK option, I may still detect some, which I'm going to figure out by then. So let's try to create a new sheet so that we'll be able to put our, let me just call it VLOOK. So from the transform sheet, I will not be slimming this one down. I will just copy the way it is. I made the heading now and paste it in. But in case of a proper layout, I can just remove this one to age. I can put underscore group depending on what I want. So this also can be gender. This one can be study underscore level. Like that. Teaching specialization. depending on how you want to from beginning to end. So, like I explained to us last class, I've been in one of our classes. So, what we used to attribute to bring the options of VLOOKUP is want to look for each of these parameters from this mini table that we created below here and return it in form of this code, which are these numbers. That is what we are doing typically. So for me to do that one over here, it will be fast. So um, VLOOK, and when you click on it, you see what value are you looking for. So what value are we looking for? We'll go back to our data. This is the value that we are looking for, and we'll press our comma. Which table array are we looking for the data from? So we'll go to the new table array that we created down here, or wherever you create it, you select it. Your variable that we are looking for is at the left hand side there, while we have our new codes, which are the number, in the second column. So it's asking us which of the column index is the number. So that will be our number 2. And command will make it a false exact match. Means that if there's not exact match, it's not seeing same thing from the table, it should be false. And I think I've explained something around boolean type of data. Under data, I told us that we have string data, we have numeric data, we have boolean is something like either true or false option. And I think we also explained something around and or all this stuff last time. So that is how this work. I will press OK. If you notice from here, our data is bringing error. Why is it bringing error? Somebody that understand why is it bringing error. Hello, are we all here together? Or is all of it that your network is not good? Yes, sir. Why is it bringing error? This is the error. Is check this now that we just did is bringing error. Why is it bringing error? Okay, not to waste our time, the reason why it's bringing error is because these categories that we select, which is 1x61 to 165 over here, is the wrong category that we are looking for, because this particular first row that we check from is age category, and we are selecting the gender categories over here. So that was intentional for me to know if you people are following according to what we are doing. So it's supposed not to be gender, it's supposed to be age categories that we put over here that we're supposed to use. So that is why it's returning an error message to us. So these are part of what you check along the line when you are doing your stuff. So what I just have to do is to remove this guy from the picture and go back to my data and select this particular guy, and I press OK to bring my data. And I told you that we want to transform this particular one downward for the entire data that we have over here, which is 161. So for us to do that one, this particular data that we look for over here, we don't want it to be moving. We want this to be stagnant throughout all the 161 data. So in my VLOOK option that I did under the VLOOK, I must lock this particular um, row and column so that it will not be moving. And I said the last class, I said we lock with dollar sign. So meaning from this particular one over here, I will lock the row and the column using the dollar sign so that it will not be moving. The only variable I'm allowed to move over here is this particular one, which is the value that we are looking for. So I can drag this one down to 161 thereabouts. And that is it about that. Are you paying attention? So same thing apply, but if you look here, we have 127 to be empty, 132 to be empty. Why? 127 to be empty. I guess it's because of a copy that I did. Let me search for it. 18. I type some with my hand when they are giving me call. No. What's the difference? Okay, the difference is that there's no space between 21 and year. If I'm right, fine. Replace of. Okay, close. So the problem is supposed to be solved like that. That's how you look for your data. The problem that happens over there is because I have to input some manually the last time. So the year that I input 18. I input 18. Why do you get that problem? So what I input was 18 having 21 space, whereas the trend of what they have in 18 to 21 before does not have a space. So that is the problem that arises over there, that makes some of them not to be having value over here. So let me quickly do the second one, which is gender. We have our equals to vlook. So that is going back here. We are looking for the gender here. Ensure you always select the exact row and the column that you are dealing with in your data. So for some of us that we are watching this on our phone, ensure you zoom your screen to be able to see what I'm actually doing. If you are not seeing very well, you can uh, zoom your screen to view it very well. So which table are we looking for this one from? We are looking from the gender table, which is this particular one, and we use our comma. We find it the number should be replaced where our code will be is from row 2 over here, and we said it should return false if they are not exactly matched. So before I bring this one in, don't forget our moving one will lock it, lock the row and lock the column, lock the row and lock the column, and press enter. Our value is in. So instead of me dragging this one down, I don't need to drag it down because I've already created a pattern in the first row. So what I just have to do is double tap the edge. It will go down to exact position that it ought to be. I find my 155 empty over here and 143. Same problem that happens the other time is still the case. So I guess something is wrong with the way I put my female here in respect to this. Why? What is happening? 155. So that when you entangle the same problem in your own, that's what I'm telling you. Let me check what is the problem here. Okay, Abosede, I'm hearing you.
All right, sir. In the gender role, the number 132 is having a group
The number,
42 for the gender role
okay,
is having a
it's
group.
supposed to be female. Sorry, I think that's where the problem is. Find and replace in this row. Let me close this one first. Let me select it properly. Hope other people are also paying attention to what we are doing. Although what we're supposed to have done is to source for all this at the first instance, but because of our time, that's why we have to be moving that way. Okay, I think since this one is in place now, we should not have a problem in our look again. Okay, are we good? So the next one is our study level, which is equals to Vlookup. We are looking for the study, comma. We are looking at from this study table that we just created. Our comma, the second row, false, and we'll log the column and press OK. So same thing, I will drag that one down. My teaching also, I will look for VLOOK. Um, teaching self dot, comma, the column, two. I believe we're all paying attention. So I will log this particular one. Log. I can present this down. So proud study of AI. Wait, oh, have I not selected this before? Oh, okay, teaching. Wait, oh. So for the questions from 1 to 24, so I'll just do for 1, I will now transfer down across the row and then downward the column. So VLOOK, comma, sorry, before comma, value that we are looking for, which is this, comma, the new table that we just create, comma, 2, comma, false. Close it, we'll lock this, we'll press OK. So I can drag this down. Sorry. By holding that corner of the box, downward side, that's what we are holding. Okay, there's not anything from here, so That's why I'm showing that sim. So we have it over here. I can select here, select the first row here under this column, and hold your shift and select the last one. So I can double tap on this edge and transfer it downward. So my data will be complete that way. If you want to double check to be sure your data is correct, let me check the last one here. This is 4. Number 4 according to here supposed to be agree. Number 4 is agree here. So let's check the last one here. The last one here is what? Is agree. That's how you know your stuff is correct. Are we together? If you are practicing on a laptop, raise up your hand so that I know how we'll be asking questions around that one. So we don't have anyone working on the laptop.
I just transferred the file to my laptop, so I've not got it to this the part of the part you are currently doing.
Okay. Double your jogging, so that you'll be able to meet us.
All right, sir.
I believe all of us that we are not using laptop, we are jotting things down so that when you practice yourself, you'll be able to sync what we are doing. Okay, with this, we have transformed our data and do the needful. The next thing we have needs to do is to go for our analysis. And don't forget, I was explaining to you guys in the last class that going by the process that your the second tutor took us using the what's it called, the pivot table, we can quickly also deduct some information as regard this particular question. But based on the fact that this is a research analysis, there are some things that is expected within the whole presentation that the pivot table may not be able to depict for me. And that is why I will have to go to the route of a normal data analysis. But let me revisit some part of the pivot table that I explained to you guys the last time. So I said, for example, now if I want to depict the variation in the gender, the variation in the level over here, the variation in the teaching specialization that we have over here, I can quickly use my pivot table to deduct that. What happened to Victor? I say go and climb tree or go and climb electric pole, you get network there. Or come to my own area here, I can dash you small network. So I've said the network is also going left and right. Let me quickly show us that one again. We have done this before. I'm just showing you as a repetition. So I might select, let me only go for all these demographic information. You should use new worksheet. Let me call it the pivot table. So I may tend to look into age category. This is my age categories. You can see the total for each of the age categories here. We have for 50, 55 for 18 to 21. Let me zoom in so that you see it. We have our 22 to 25 to be 58. We have our 26 to be 30 to be 42. We have 31 and above to be 5. Well, you can see that this data tallies with the study because it's here before you see larger proportion of 31 and above in probably 100 200 level, 300 level, 400 level that was considered. Though we might see them, but it will be a lower quantity. But majority that you see is these categories, which is 18 to this 25. So that justifies that the respondent for this study is well looking. So from this, I may generate a graph for this. I'm using pivot table just to explain to us how things work over here with your pivot table. So I may generate a graph from this. So this is my graph. We might now tend to beautify the graph the way we want it. For example, I don't want this particular thing that is showing over here. So I can go to my format and um, I may tend to do different things. But the way needs to be adjusting, so I'll also do it on normal analysis for you. So this is showing the graphical representation of my age. I can edit all this information, but I'm not ready to do that one yet because of our time. So that I'll quickly release you people on time. So in variation also, I may tend to look into, sorry, I will still be using this particular one because I don't want to create a new stuff over somewhere else. So let's proceed with that one. Let's assume I also want to check, probably let me check the teaching specialization. It's difficult for getting this in respect to, probably let me just do multiple over here. Um, mm. So this is actually showing the number of individual. This one is when you want to work with variation between two. Probably you are looking at the relationship between two key variables. For now, I'm looking at the age group over here, but I want to check each of this age group. How many individual shows that their study is in art, education, humanity, language, and the likes. So I can see that 18 to 21 age, only two are under art, while 20 are under education over here. And I can see from 31 and above, none of them is in humanity, none of them is in arts, one is in education, two is in language, and we have the other two in STEM. So this one you can use it to check the proportion in terms of different variable. While you put one of your variable in row, the other one in column. So what I did is actually put my age category in my axis, which my axis is this perspective, and you can see that is what to build your axis on your graph sheet over here. And the other variable that I'm considering, which is the teaching specialization, I put that one under the legend, which are the series that it will show. And these are the series. These are the series that is creating per each of the axis. So that is how we come about this. And we also have other options here, filter. Let's check what it is. Value here is where is it picking the precept of value. You can just make one as reference of the value because this is just in terms of count. In terms of counting the essence that we are looking at different participants, which is 160 in total. We are just looking at the variation across board, across each of the category. So we are looking at in terms of the age categories that we can find in each of these um, teaching specialization. So this making it more compound more, but I don't want that now. What we are just trying to do is just to check into proportion. For example, now if I don't want to use the age group over here, I may look into the gender for me to know the gender that belongs to each of these teaching specialization, and we can see all of them over here. The it can show that both female and male are much in education according to the tallest one, highest one over here, which is showing a female of 38 and male of 42. So we can also check our, instead of our gender, we can look into our crowd AI training. So we have different categories of them. So you can relate it in any way you want it to be. But don't forget something I explained under this place. Your role is what will justify your axis, which is major variable of consideration. While your whatever, if you are using two variable in entities, the one that you put under your column over here will be your series, which is your column over here, and that is what will justify your series within the graph, which are this information over here. So and you can see each of them within each of the variable, which is the row entities. And I said the value, which value I use to justify. For example, now we are dealing with age categories. We have the value over here, and the value that you are dealing with is not necessarily must be a count. It can be average, it can be maximum, it can be minimum, it can be product, depending on the type of data you are relating with. So you can play around this at your leisure and work over it. We'll also do some classes around the pivot table so that you people will get it much better later on. But that is how pivot table works. But back to the business of what we are doing, the major focus is not the pivot table. The major focus is for us to be able to establish the use of data analysis tools on the Excel, which for tonight we major it on descriptive analysis, and I will ask question on us from us based on the assignment I have given to us to answer each of the response in terms of the analysis that we are able to depict from this. So I said you go under your data. When you move under your data, you see your data analysis at this edge corner here. So click on data analysis, and I told you that we have different, it's not even that I told you, we can see it here, that we have different data analysis method that are presented over here. But here tonight we'll be focusing only on descriptive statistics. And we have to select the categories I want to do. So supervise every data that we have here that I want to analyze once and for all. I'll just select the data. So it's saying my data is grouped by what? It's grouped by column. Assuming you group your data by row, you identify row. But this one is grouped by column. Is by column. And my first row is my label. So where should we present the output? I said new sheet. Let me call it descriptive analysis. And I will select summary statistics. It will give me summary statistics. You might also select your confidence level for your mean if you like. It's not necessary depending on information that you need to to have a descriptive around your result that you're able to deduct from it. I can press my OK. So these are analysis for each of these categories. For the age, we can see that we have our mean to be 1.9. So if our mean is 1.98 in this category, and under our transform data, we have our male to be 1 and our females to be 2. What is the highest proportion that we have over here? What is the highest? Oh, sorry. The age categories is not. eight categories is yeah, four categories that we have here, which is 18 to 21, 22 to 25, 26 to 30, 31 and above. So with this mean that we get over here, this mean that is giving us 1.96, let me color it. Where does our mean fall to under this particular transform data that we have? Where does our mean fall to here? Somebody, I'm expecting response from us. Our mean that we got over here in our descriptive is 1.9. Probably let me copy it. It's 1.92. So where does our mean fall into in these age categories here? Somebody should answer us. So that's the only way I can know you people are online. You
I
cannot.
believe my
Okay.
name is Gaio. So I believe that it falls under 22 to 25 years. So we can approximate the 1.922 and then we can just map it to 22 to 25 years.
22 to 25. That is right. Somebody says it's not seeing my screen. Who is that? Is it Paulina Ogundele?
Yes, I can't see the screen.
Just press your red button, go back and join us back. Is the
All
network
right,
from
sir.
your end?
I can see it now.
Okay. So, and how will we confirm this? Somebody have answered the question, so I don't need to buttress more because I've explained this one for us when I was explaining something around here. But for me to double check this, you can go back. Let's just quickly check the pivot table that we did just now. I will change this particular row back to age category, and for this, I will remove it. I will remove the column part to focus on this. So if you check this, what is the maximum that we have here? Our maximum belongs to this age category, which is 22.25, and that is where our, and you can also see that we have our highest population also to 15 to 1 year thereabout. So if we should do the mean of this particular entities that we have over here, it's a 4 year. How do we know that one? This let me just even do a layman way approach, average. This is how did they come about this average? This average is being deducted by using your is actually using the whole population, which is 160 divided by 4. That is how it got those average. But if you look at the variation proportion in this regard, the mean, the highest population that we have from this particular input of the age categories is coming from this 22 to 25, and that is why our mean tends towards this particular variable. I don't know, probably you get what I'm trying to say. And don't forget the way we sync this one is we are using 1, 2, 3, 4 for the entity. So in respect to that one, if the stuff is tending towards the fourth part, probably we are having 3 and above, 3 point something and above, we might justify that it's between this particular range. I'm just using this one to verify what the data looks like from the analysis over here, which is 1.9, blah blah blah, all those stuff. So to explain to us how it comes about down, because this particular one are counts of individual respondents from each of these age categories, which we coded with this 1, 2, 3, 4. Meaning, what this one is saying that out of our analysis that we did, which is descriptive, is finding every of these 111 counts in 55 place for 18 to 21, is finding this 222 in 58 places, is finding 3 in 42 places, and it's finding 4 in 5 places. So, and that is how it comes about the average. But let me do a simple mathematics that I'm even thinking in my head. Let's assume I have this to be equals to product of this. Let me see the way this z things. Let me this. And I have this to be average. It's not working that way. Sorry. Okay, so that is what that one explained to us in that regard. And we also have our mean under our genders to be 1.52. This one is also telling us that we have majority of what, according to our age over here. Our 2 is towards our female. So let's check our data. Let me use the pivot table to verify this also. So instead of the age category, let me pick gender. So we can see from here that majority of our gender is female because our male counterpart, the male categories is 76 while our female is 84. So our mid tends towards the larger uh, categories that we have over there. So that's how you explain all your mean downward. So from the assignment I gave to all of us the last time, I said we should go and master the meaning of mean, the standard deviation, the median, mode, the likes and the likes. And I said I can call anybody